can everyone please put your names, where you are based, and your sector? This is a great opportunity for everyone to network while we get started. So let us, just start putting them in there. And if anyone is looking for a type of business, go into the chat and have a look and see if the company you're looking for is right here in the midst of you. So we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to introduce myself very quickly, and I will hand over to Adebola, who will take it from there. So I'm Tokunbo Shumbayo. I'm your moderator today, and I just want to welcome everyone. So I'm going to be sharing the house rules, and this will be for everyone. So these are our house rules today. So please, everyone, as you come in, can you kindly mute your mics when you come into the meeting? Second thing is register your name on the screen, so on your device, because when people come in, we want to know who you are. So if you could just change your name. I've seen a few names that have come, people that have come in and they don't have their names. So if you can kindly add that to your own screen, or if you're on your laptop. Put off your video if you are in a public place for privacy. So if you're in a public place, please, you can put off your video. Also, to use the hand emojis reaction. So if you want to make a remark, just put them into the comment section. When the speakers are also presenting and you have a question, please, can you just put them into the chat? We won't be taking questions while the speakers are presenting, but we would have a look at them and address them at the end of the session. And we'll be using the chat box more, but when the time for question and answers come up, then you will be able to speak, depending on how the speakers also want to handle the questions and answer session. Okay, so I think that is basically
Hello.
it.
So I'm
Okay.
so sorry.
No, that's okay.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adebola Akinwande. I'm the visionary and for the Priestley Consulting outfit or firm. And Priestley Consulting is a multidimensional business solutions company or firm to address the needs of businesses. And this cuts across maybe legal advisory, human resources, startup, enterprise development, innovations, all the global trends, that evolving trends all over the world. And of course, needs-based, customized or designed for needs of any business whatsoever. Now, again, the vision also looks at empowering businesses in whatever sector operations that they may have, including individuals in their career. Now, what birthed this was the fact that oftentimes, as a lawyer, as a human resource practitioner, as an advocate of the just transition, enterprise development, enterprise innovations, I discovered that oftentimes for the individual, yes, they are on a path to building their career or their careers, but they don't know what the needs may be in terms of the requirements for the job roles that they may interview for. Now, even when they do get the job, there are things or issues that are evolving maybe at the state level, the national level, or international level that impact their deliverables, their KPIs. And someone like myself, Debola, having worked with NECA, I think as we continue, when I will be coming up with my own paper as we round off, we'll be able to share a few things in that regard. All right, you'll know a bit more about myself. So this basically is just the maiden edition of the webinar series that's going to be a quarterly update webinar for those that are in business, whether you're a startup, whether you actually have been in operations for some years, or you are an individual who wants to know what exactly is happening in the world that impact your career and your role in whatever business or company you're working with. That said, because we're conscious of time and we're still going to be coming back to talk some more about myself, and hopefully we'll still have some time to engage one another. All right. Again, of course, Talks had already shown our contact details. You want to ask some things, you want us to customize some requirements of yours, your needs for future webinars, please let us know. All right. Thank you very much. Over to you, Tobes. Thank you,
Okay.
and welcome to the maiden edition of the new emerging trends. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, the new normal. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Cheers.
Thank you so much. That is Adebola introducing herself, and we will, yes, so she's introduced herself. Thank you for that. And we are going to have our first speaker that is going to speak. But first of all, we have Tony, who is going to introduce our first speaker, read the profile. So, Tony, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so just give me a
All
second.
right. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you
Okay.
once again for joining the session.
Okay.
So, first speaker for today is Eden Ebu Anaba. Eden is a seasoned human resources and administration professional with over 18 years of progressive experience in people management, organizational development, and corporate services management. She is widely recognized for her ability to bridge the gap between talent and business, leveraging our expertise to drive transformational change, cultural alignment, and sustainable organizational growth. Our career has been defined by a strong track record of leading change management initiatives, culture transformation, and talent performance management, working alongside senior leadership teams to deliver measurable business results. With robust leadership and project management skills, she consistently creates supportive yet performance-driven work environments where employees thrive and organizations excel. Eden's professional journey spans repeatable organizations, including, so she was the team lead, people experience, Chartered Institute of Personal Management of Nigeria. She was a talent and change manager, HR and corporate service manager at HCI Healthcare Limited. She was the HR and administration manager, Dozie Oil and Gas Limited. She was the HR and administrative manager, Chase Business Executive Services Limited. And she was the head HR sales and sales administrator, Allied Technologies and Diversified Service Limited. She was also she was also an HR professional at Management Information Systems Limited. Our expertise covers talent and leadership development, corporate management, employees relation, change management, and organizational development with a constant focus on attracting, retaining, and motivating high-quality talent to advance organizational vision and growth. Eden is a full member of the Chartered Institute of Personal Management of Nigeria, a fellow of the Institute of Professional Managers and Administrators of Nigeria, and a participant in multiple international HR trainings and certifications. She holds masters in public administration, human resource management, University of Lagos, Akoka, Bachelor of Public Administration, Ambrizali University, Ekpoma, Diploma in Accounting, University of Benin, Edo State. And beyond her professional achievements, Eden is passionate about technology, continuous learning, people development, and cultural transformation. She is also a bronze medalist in chess, Nuga 1998. She enjoys cooking, traveling, basketball, and networking. She is happily married to Mr. Okezie Anthony and blessed with four lovely children. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome our first speaker. Over to you, Mrs. Eden.
Thank you so much, Anthony. So coincidentally, you bear the same name with my husband. He's also Anthony too.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So welcome everyone to this maiden edition. I'm glad that I'm taking this and being the first speaker for this maiden edition. So we're going to have some time to talk about contemporary trends in leadership, governance, and accountability in public sector. So Anthony, I don't know if you're the one moving the slides for me or something.
So I can move the slides for you. I wasn't too sure if you're going to share yourself, but I will.
No, just
okay. Just give me 2 seconds, and I will.
All right, thank you.
Share. Okay. So I'm just going to share. Just a second.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
So we are going to have, our talk is going to be more on contemporary trends in leadership, governance, and accountability in private sector. I'm sure a lot of us work in the private sector. Some of us will also work in the public sector, but I think this will be a takeaway for both sectors. And our highlights are going to be based on the next slide, please. Contemporary trends in the private sectors. We're going to also look at the different areas that's in the public. What are the contemporary trends in leadership, in governance, and accountability? What are the challenges that are being seen in those sectors, in the private sectors, as it relates to these three areas that I've mentioned, as the LGA. So the L is the leadership, G is the governance, and A is the accountability. Then we're also going to look at possible solutions. Solutions might not just be limited to what we're going to share now. I'm sure a lot of us will also have our own solution in one way or the other. And because of time, we also need to also round up and have a final takeaway. So we're going to be very, very decisive, and I'm going to go straight into it, and let's talk about it.
Okay.
Thank you. So introduction, contemporary trends. We all have different understanding of what it means. But in private sector leadership, governance, and accountability, they are driven by a shift from a sole focus on shareholder value to a more holistic and stakeholder-centric model. So what we mean now is that, unlike before, we used to say the shareholders are the key holders, the shareholders are the forerunners, the shareholders are the owners of the organization. But it has actually moved from what it used to be to what it's expected to be now. So who are the stakeholders? Stakeholders, we have the government, we have the regulatories, we have even the boards are also part of the stakeholders. So it's now moved from the shareholders' perspective to more holistic area. So this move is influenced by growing demands from investors, regulators, and the public for greater transparency, ethical practices, and social and environmental responsibility. So we cannot see that, unlike what we used to have before, even though it was a private sector, the shareholders were the ones that ran the business. So it has moved beyond them. So we have a fuller spectrum of people who could look into the activities of private sector to ensure that leadership are in line, governance are in line, and also accountability are properly monitored. Thank you. So the private sector is changing. We've seen it in the soft part. It's changing, and this change is even faster than we can even imagine. So technology, globalization, shifting workforce expectation, and its increasing demands from society are shaping how organization operates. In this context, the three elements, like I said before, we're going to focus more on is leadership, governance, and accountability. And in the areas of leadership, well, it's no longer news. It's no longer news that leadership has gone beyond what is expected to be. It's more than just holding a title or just being at the helms of affair. It's more about giving. It's not just about giving directions again. In today's leadership, it's more agile, more visionary, more people-focused. That's the essence of this leadership in contemporary times. And this is also expressed on how we drive innovation, prioritize employee well-being, and lead into purpose. So leadership has just gone beyond just holding the cap or holding the seat. This is one of the areas that leadership has grown into. Now, in the area of governance, governance has also moved beyond simple compliance. Model boards and executives are expected to ensure transparency, ethical oversight, and sustainable practices. These are where we look at the ESG, environmental, society, and social and governance. This is no longer optional, but essential to a long-term success for any governance to be effective. Accountability. Accountability is broader today. That is financial performance along with organizations, are now held responsible for their ethics, their social and environmental impact, and their behavior in the public eye. And with this, social media accountability is instant and is very visible. And that's why whenever things are done, social media picks it up, and everybody that does anything that is not accountable will need to be called to book. So there's no hiding place for anybody now. So when we bring these three pillars together, leadership, governance, and accountability, they shape how an organization builds trust, delivers value, and sustain competitiveness in today's complex business environment. So the area that we're going to look at, the three areas that we're looking at under the private sector leadership, is authentic and purpose-driven leadership. We're also going to talk about focus and skill-based leadership and proactive succession planning. Now, please, okay. Can you go back? I need to explain more of that. So authentic purpose-driven leadership, this is where effective leaders are moving away from traditional command and control models towards a more nuanced, empathetic styles. Modern leaders are expected to be more self-aware and inspire commitment beyond simple compliance by connecting organizational purpose with employees and customers' values. The second focus area here under the leadership contemporary trends is focused on skill-based leadership. What this has to be is focused on here is boards are now increasingly prioritizing specialized expertise in areas critical to navigating modern business risk. This includes directors with deep knowledge of digital technology, cybersecurity, ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance, and risk management. So the third area under leadership trends is proactive succession planning. Boards are dedicating more time and resources to formalizing executive development and holistic CEOs as succession planning. This proactive approach is directed to respond to internal and external pressures on executive tenures and the need for smoother, values-supportive transition. So in the area of governance under this contemporary trends is rise in stakeholder capitalism. When we say rise in stakeholder capitalism, what does it mean? This is the model where corporate governance is shifting from shareholders' primacy to stakeholder capitalism, which emphasizes creating long-term value for all stakeholders, including employees, customers, suppliers, and the community. This broader focus trends to more sustainable and ethical business practices. The second area to look under the governance here is intensified board oversight. With more complex business challenges, we see it every day. Boards face increased pressure to raise their standards. Directors are expected to be more engaged and dedicate more time to issues beyond traditional financial oversight, and to ensure as ESG strategy, risk management, and the ethical use of new technologies. The third area here is digital transformation and governance. Effective governance or digital transformation is crucial for unlocking new opportunities. There's no gainsaying that this involves creating clear governance frameworks, managing cyber risk, and ensuring that digital strategies are ethical, secure, and resilient. Furthermore, in the private sector governance contemporary trends, We're also going to look at the fourth one here, the increased focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's the DEY. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is increasingly seen as a driver for financial performance, not just a moral imperative. Organizations are working to embed DEI into both governance and culture. Through the language around these efforts, though the language around this effort is rapidly evolving in some regions due to political and regulatory changes. The fifth one here is nuanced approach to ESG risk and management. The global political climate has created more uncertainty around ESG. Businesses are adopting a more nuanced approach, balancing diverse stakeholders' expectations with a complex and fragmented regulatory landscape. A key part of this is integrating ESG data collection and monitoring into core business strategy. So under the accountability, I think you've gone a little bit further. Tokes, I think you need to go back a little bit. Yes, that's it. So under the accountability, like I said, our three major areas that we're looking at is leadership, governance, and accountability. So how does this run in the private sector? What are the contemporary trends? How do we make a private sector more effective, more robust, more adherence to regulatory compliances? So the accountability area of it has to do with, the first one is mandatory and transparent ESG reporting. So I'm going to be using more of the acronym for the ESG if I've already mentioned it before. So like regulatory bodies in Nigeria and worldwide are mandating detailed ESG closure, moving sustainability reporting from voluntary to required. So this is moving from the old shift to a new shift to what's voluntary, what we feel like doing, to what is required. Now this has to be in line with the regulatory compliance requirements. This increases accountability by forcing companies to transparently report their environmental and social impacts. Upcoming standards like the EU's, I'm going to use some foreign organizations here, the EU's Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, the CSRD, in 2025, are requiring organizations or companies to report a double materiality. And this also has to do with our data protection too, where there's a need to also do a lot of data protection, data compliance, and a lot of other regulatory bodies. The financial impact of sustainability risk and the company's impact on society and the environment. The second area is focused on supply chain transparency. And what we say supply chains, focus on supply chains transparency. This includes increased ESG reporting requirements, including indirect scope. That's the 3 emissions. Which means that companies must extend their accountability beyond their own operations. They are now responsible for assessing and discussing the environment and the social impacts of their entire value chains, including suppliers and customers. So focus on supply chain transparency. So whatever the supplier is giving, it has to be very transparent to the customer. There should not be any hidden charges, any hidden things behind the scene. The third area has to do with enhanced internal control assurance. To combat greenwashing, So I'm going to use some words here. I'm sure most of us already know what greenwashing is. It's not greenwashing means not giving the accurate figure or accurate representation of things. That's giving a false representation of things to the public. So to combat greenwashing and ensure data quality, companies are delivering more rigorous internal controls for their ESG reporting. Third-party assurance for sustainability information is also becoming standard practice, similar to financial reporting. Now, the fourth one is evolving regulatory compliance. The regulatory landscape is changing rapidly. We have seen it. The tax law has come up, and by next year, 2026, a lot of things has to change. And the private sector needs to also be in line with those changes. It's going to hit more of the private sector. Now, regulatory landscape is changing rapidly with stricter guidelines on governance, reporting, and transparency. Boards must implement robust frameworks to facilitate compliance with these evolving rules and to demonstrate accountability, not just to shareholders, but also to broader sets of stakeholders. And like I said earlier on, the shift has moved from just the shareholders to stakeholders. Stakeholders are more of the external people and also the internal people. So before now, it was more on the internal shareholders, just the shareholders, the board of directors, and people who have bought into the organization. But now it has gone beyond that scope. The last aspect here is data privacy and cybersecurity. Digital transformation requires strong governance and accountability concerning data privacy and security. With the global cost of cybercrime increasing, boards must proactively review the data protection policies and manage their significant risk. So this is significant for every private sector to adhere to. So because of a lot of cyber crimes coming up, data protection policies needs to be renewed, reviewed, and updated. And a lot of cyber trainings, a lot of cyber protection highlights are all there for all private sector to inculcate into their business.
Okay, sorry, just a second.
So the next slide.
Yeah, no, it's kind of stuck. Just give me a second, please. Why is it not moving? Okay. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So challenges in contemporary trends in leadership, governance, and accountability in private sector. So despite the drive towards purpose-driven leadership, stakeholders governance, and enhance accountability, private sectors face significant challenges in fully embracing and implementing these contemporary trends. These hurdles range from balancing competing interests to overcoming internal resilience and managing the complexities of both of data and technology. So in looking at the trend, the challenges in leadership, these are the challenges that most private organizations would face or are facing, is balancing profits and purpose. And when we say balancing profit and purpose, what do we mean by this? Leaders often face a fundamental conflict between delivering on a higher purpose and meeting the short-term financial performance targets. Companies, and especially mid-sized ones, that's the middle-level SMEs, can struggle to scale operations and grow while maintaining commitment to their core values. This can lead to stakeholders' skepticism if the stated purpose appears misaligned with actual business practices. So this also has to do with how do you balance your profits with the required business practices, not over profiting the organization at the detriment of their stakeholders. Stakeholders here could also be also your consumers. So that is where the balance is also coming. And we also know that cost of running a lot of businesses now is quite high. So the leadership in the contemporary times, we need to have a way to balancing it so that the buyers are happy, the business is also happy. There's a win-win between both sides. Then measuring the impact of purpose. Many organizations lack meaningful metrics for tracking the long-term, non-financial value created by purpose-led initiatives. This makes it difficult to justify those programs to investors who remain focused on traditional financial metrics. There is no universal acceptable standard for measuring and evaluating the social and environmental impact of a company's purpose. So this is another challenge that organizations, private sectors are facing, measuring the impact of the purpose, because there's no universal standard in measuring their impact to the social and environmental. Now, all those challenges leadership face in private sectors is securing and embedding buy-in. For purpose-driven leadership to be authentic, it requires buy-in from all levels of organization. However, poor communication from leadership and a lack of clarity about what and the purpose is and what the purpose truly entails can lead to resilience from employees, and additionally, it may also lead to misalignment of performance targets, and incentives can undermine the entire effort. So what these other challenges that leadership face in private contemporary terms is securing and embedding buy-ins. How do you get buy-ins even from your colleagues, your workers, your employees? How do you get buy-ins from the regulators? How do you get buy-ins from your stakeholders and shareholders? So additionally, the misaligned performance targets and incentive can undermine the entire effort. So is it by giving incentives that are not aligning to the performance, or are you giving performance that are not aligning to the incentive? There should be a balance in both of them. So challenges in governance and governance trends is the first one is balancing and competing shareholders' interests. The other one is risk management entrenchment. And the third one is board level skills and expertise. Now, if we talk more on the balancing competing stakeholders' interests, what does this mean? Why stakeholders capitalism emphasizes value for all groups, a key challenge is that stakeholders often have conflicting interests. For example, the interest of stakeholders, high profits. That's the interest of stakeholders. They want high profits. May clash with those of employees, high wages. We have seen it in recent times. Customers also want lower prices, or the community, greater environmental investment. So there's a clash in these four areas: the shareholders, the employees, the community. There's a balance. So there's an imbalance. So how do we balance this? These are the challenges that governance faces every time. So along the line, we're going to also talk about how we can also provide solution to this. So in the balancing competing stakeholders' interests, this can paralyze the decision-making or lead to policies that favor some groups over others, damaging, and this can lead to damaging of trust. We have seen it in current times now. They've also said currently that the prices of fuel may be increased. So those stakeholders will have a higher interest on their side, while the consumers will also have to pay. So there's no balance in this. Now, the second one is risk of manager entrenchment. Critics argue that bordering governance to include multiple stakeholders can reduce managerial accountability to shareholders. This could allow management to prioritize projects that benefit them personally or expand their influence rather than acting in the best long-term interest of the company. So this is where you say, what are we going to do now? What are the to-do? So organization needs to come up with what are the to-dos now. In the first 1-2 years, what are we going to do? And that's why strategic plans are also brought into play. In the next 3 years, these are the things we need to also do and achieve. In the next further 4 to 6 years, these are the things we need to achieve. So we cannot just attend to have everything at once. So broad level influence and expertise. So in adding directors with new non-traditional skills, e.g., if you're adding new directors into your board or organization that do not have new non-traditional skills like the ESG or digital, they are not digitally tech savvy, can lead to groupthink or a power imbalance, or if legacy board members are less informed. So this is where, even if you are bringing the new board into it, they need to also be trained to understand what is expected in the private sector, what are the stakeholders expected to, how to meet the interest of the stakeholders, and who are the different stakeholders. So sourcing diverse and highly skilled directors also requires a deeper talent pool and a more proactive succession planning process. So challenges in accountability trends in the private sectors. So this is where the volume of the work is, accountability. And that's why we have about 6 highlights there. So I'm just going to briefly speak on each of the highlights for us to understand what each of the highlights means. And if some of them may also relate to us at some point, so we could there are some takings or some realities that are already playing out in our different organizations. So complex and non-standardized ESG reporting. Companies face a confusing and constantly evolving landscape of multiple non-standardized ESG framework. And that's a given, that's true. This makes it difficult to ensure consistency and comparability in reporting. The lack of standardization also creates confusion for investors trying to compare companies based on ESG's performance. So with lack of complex and non-standardization, ESG reporting is very vague. Some organizations do not even have it. And if investors are coming in, investors need more transparency in knowing where their money is going to. Those are also external, these are stakeholders too in the organization. So other challenges that we may have also envisaged or is still playing out is poor ESG data availability and quality. A primary hurdle in ESG reporting is the sheer volume of fragmented data required and the difficulty in ensuring its accuracy and reliability. Many organizations lack the robust data gathering systems needed to capture high quality ESG data. This is a given. I'm sure a lot of us have a lot of difficulties in gathering this ESG data, especially from complex scope to 3 emissions. That's the indirect supply chain emissions. Without strong internal controls and external assurance, reported ESG can be under-reliable. No, we are not yet there. Okay. Yeah. So difficulty in ensuring supply chain transparency. This is another challenges that private sectors have also envisaged or are experiencing in accountability. And this is because they have difficulty in ensuring supply chain transparency. Achieving true supply chain transparency is extremely difficult due to the complexity of global supply chains, which involve many tiers of suppliers. Many companies lack visibility beyond their tier one suppliers, and suppliers may be reluctant to share proprietary or sensitive data. This opacy makes it challenging to guarantee ethical and sustainable practices throughout the value chain. The fourth one is risk of greenwashing. So I mentioned this earlier on, so we're just going to go into it now. So greenwashing, the risk of greenwashing, this means with increased scrutiny, companies risk accusations of greenwashing. So greenwashing also means misrepresenting or exaggerating their ESG efforts. We've seen a lot of organizations internally, they're not actually doing it, but what they report is different from what they do or what they have done. This can cause significant reputational damage and lead to increased regulatory and public scrutiny. Boards face the challenge of both encouraging ambiguous ESG goals and ensuring that performance metrics are credible and accurately reported. The other challenge that we have under this is also the cyber security and data privacy. While digital governance and transparency are goals, they also increase a company's attack surface. Boards and management must invest heavily on cybersecurity, and companies must navigate a complex patchwork of global data privacy regulations to avoid reputational damage and legal penalties from data breaches. So it's expected that organizations secure their data very well. They get in these data protection agencies to come into the organization and do some trainings to staff on how to manage their data. Excuse me. So the last but not least, I'm sure we also have some other ones that we can mention here, is the operational complexities and hybrid work. The shift to hybrid work models increase complexity for governance and accountability. Maintaining a cohesive and ethical and secured work culture across remote and in-office environment requires new policies. So for any organization that is going into hybrid or remote work, there must be policies backing up, and they should also have the right technologies for such. And leadership skills is also required. So for every team lead, for every manager, how do you monitor your staff that are working remotely? So that is also sacrosanct. It also introduces new cyber security risk that needs to be carefully managed. So when you have organizations already embracing remote work, hybrid work, so your level of cyber security should increase, so that you need to so that you be able to monitor those that are working outside the office space to ensure that there's no leak, data leak to outside or wanted people.
Okay, Eden, can you start to round up, please?
Okay.
Because of the time. Go to
All
the
right,
next one.
thank you. So the solutions. So we're talking about almost rounding up now.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So the solutions to this in order to address the challenges above, some set of solutions have been provided to address these challenges in contemporary leadership governance and accountability within the public sectors. This strategy focuses on aligning purpose and profit leveraging technologies, enhancing transparency and building stronger and stakeholder relationship. So this solution, I'm just going to run it through. I'm sure the slide will be shared with us later on. So the first of the solution is balancing profit and purpose. This is under the leadership. How do you balance the profit and purpose? Please, can you move to the next slide, Talks? Okay, so balancing profit and purpose. So this is where organizations need to come to a place where they integrate purpose into core strategy. This is where they embed the meaningful mission into the company's business model. And then the other area is link compensation and incentive to ESG goals. This is aligning executive compensation with ESG targets that holds leadership accountable for both financial and sustainable performance. The other area is measuring the impact of purpose. So how do you measure impact of purpose? This is by establishing a measurable ESG and impact KPIs, define specific time bounds and realistic goals related to environmental and social impacts. The other area under the measuring impact and purpose is utilize reporting framework. So there's a need to always have a reporting framework that is being utilized every time to capture where we are, where we want to be, and if we have gotten to where we intend to be. The other one is, Talks, you move beyond, is securing and embedding buy-ins. So this is where you communicate the purpose clearly. Purpose is clearly stated and compelling, and is also very compelling. So ensure that there's effective communication and the why. What is the why behind the company's purpose to achieve or inspire them and motivate employees? Using the compelling statements, it has a way of also connecting with individual workers to ensure there's a larger understanding of the mission and build stronger buy-ins.
Okay.
So the other solutions to challenges in governance is balancing profit and purpose. So balancing.
Have I gone further?
No, that's where you are now.
Okay. So before you go on, can you just give me a second? Can everyone start putting your questions into the chat box? We would take them after the second speaker. Okay. Thank you. Go ahead, Eden. Sorry about that.
So solutions for governance in private sector. This is where we also need to balance competing stakeholders' interests. We have, like I've said earlier on, we have different stakeholders. We have the externals, we have the internal, we have the consumers. They're all stakeholders. How do we balance their interests? This is whereby we engage an active and transparent communication, proactively engaging with the stakeholders, including employees, investors, and communities to understand their needs and concerns. Open communication helps in finding common grounds and building trust. We also need to ensure that we use collaborative decision making. This involves shareholders and decision making process to ensure that a sense of ownership and increase in livelihood of finding mutual and agreeable solutions. The other area is risk management entrenchment. So this is another area that solution can be brought into the governance. So this is where increased board accountability is brought into play, whereby there's an established clear rules, responsibility, and performances evolutions for board members, implement mechanisms that give shareholders more influence over board performance. Now, we also have where we prioritize board diversity and independent oversight. So diversity, DEY, is also expected to come into play here, where we recruit directors with different diverse skills, experience, and backgrounds to challenge the assumptions and improve decision-making, ensure a strong independent oversight function. This is another area where we can have an effective governance in our contemporary trends. Now, the last one here is board level skill expertise. Now, this is where we invest a broad level skill expertise, where a broad education and training implement specific training programs to help existing board members build their expertise in key areas like ESG and digital strategy. The other area is leverage external expertise, where appointed external advisory boards or engage consultants to provide specialized knowledge and a fresh perspective on complex issues.
Okay, do you want me to go to the next slide?
Okay, yes, to the next slide now. Yes, so this is where we have, accountability. Accountability had the largest challenges, like we mentioned earlier on. So we also need to see how we can mitigate those challenges. Now, one of the challenges, solutions that we can mitigate to complex and non-standardized ESG reporting is to adapt a global recognized framework, identify and use relevant standardized frameworks such as those from ISBN. We have this number. We also have this NAFDAC number, which we also use. So that is also can also play out. So know the kind of products we are buying. If they are also your producers are accountable to the products that they are produced, to ensure consistency and comparability in reporting. This is also expected to ensure that there's a leverage ESG reporting technology to invest in ESG data management software to streamline data collection, validation, and analysis. These tools can help manage the high volume of complexity of data. The other solution that we also talk about is poor ESG data availability and quality. So this is where there's a need for us to have a centralized and automatic data collection center.
Eden, can we start to round up, please, because of time?
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. So
I know. Sorry about that. It's just that we are keeping our eye to the time.
I know. So, so the tips here. So we can just move to the penultimate.
Okay.
So the tips and takeaway here in all this is that leadership challenges, leader struggles to balance profits with a broader purpose and often lack clear metrics. We mentioned this to measure and impact the purpose-driven initiatives, overcoming internal resilience to change and securing buy-in across the organization is also very difficult. Those are the challenges that we mentioned. So these are all stated here. Now, the purpose solutions. To overcome these issues, companies should integrate purpose into core strategy, link initiatives to ESG goals, and adopt standardized reporting framework and technology. Governance can be strengthened through active stakeholder engagement, increase board accountability, and dedicated training for directors and all employees. For accountability, investing in robust data controls, leveraging supply chain transparency software, and seeking third-party assurance for sustainability reporting are crucial.
Thank you.
So in conclusion, so I'm almost through. Okay,
yes,
in conclusion,
that's okay.
So in all said and done, it is important to note that The contemporary trends emphasizes that the private sector is undergoing a fundamental shift from the shareholder-centric to a more holistic and stakeholder-focused model. This change is driven by investors, regulators, and public pressure for greater transparency and sustainability, which presents significant challenges for leadership, governance, and accountability in the private sector. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Please, everyone, can you put some emojis in there? The clapping. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Thank you so much, Eden, for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So please, can you all put, if you have any questions, we will be taking them at the end of our second speaker. So I'm going to hand over to Tony. So Tony, are you ready for our second speaker? Thank you so much, Eden, for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. So.
All right, so I'll be calling our second speaker. Just introduction. So our second speaker is Venerable Adelowo Adesina. Venerable Adesina is the managing consultant of Sages and Scribes, an indigenous multidisciplinary consultancy firm with global outlook. Adesina is a social administration graduate of Loughborough University, Leicestershire in England. He worked as a research assistant in the university from July 1980 to December 1982. He has over 40 years of rich, abroad, and varied postgraduate work experience in industry, commerce, and consulting, about 18 of which was in executive management position in a multinational corporation. He is a distinguished member and fellow of the following professional bodies: Fellow Institute of Humanitarian Studies and Social Development, Fellow Nigerian Institute of Training and Development, Fellow Institute of Mentoring and Career Development, Member Chartered Institute of Personal Management, Member Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators. Adelowo is an acknowledged practitioner in the areas of workforce development, personal and organizational skills, entrepreneurial development, and management training. Venerable Adesina is an accredited business advisor and has been privileged to run strategic business sessions, business clinics for a wide range of business ventures, ranging from banking, insurance, schools and colleges, pharmaceuticals, ITC, engineering, manufacturing, shipping, oil and gas. He has also provided business advice and support services for emerging businesses and small and medium enterprises. He is an acknowledged business coach and trainer, human and organizational development expert, certified online facilitator, instructional design and delivery professional. Venerable Adesina is a certified mentor, a certified trainer, and accomplished adult learning experience practitioner. He has featured as coach, counselor, facilitator, and trainer for government ministries and parastatals, corporate organizations, training and consultancy firms, professional bodies, schools and colleges, NGOs, and a host of voluntary organizations. He is a fellow and member of the Governing Council of the Nigerian Institute of Training and Development. He is the Master Trainer and Ethics Lead, Learning and Development Network International. He is a member of the Advisory Board Global Workplace Wellness Summit. He is a full member of the Chartered Institute of Personal Management. Venerable Adesina is an employee assistant program practitioner and a wellness enthusiast. He is privileged to be engaged by Chevron Nigeria to design and deliver pre-retirement workshop and exit counseling for our staffers. He has also been engaged on the same assignment for Hajib. He has facilitated training workshop for Nigerian liquefied natural gas and energy on the essentials of EAP. He has been engaged by Total as advocates on the PSR and EAP and wellness awareness campaign. He has presented papers and facilitated workshops at EAP, SA Edu Week, and conferences. He was recently given an award by the Employee Assistant Professional Association of South Africa as the opinion leader and global influencer in EAP. A widely traveled man, Adelowo has attended several courses locally and abroad. His research and training interests include personal development, personal effectiveness, organizational growth and strategic planning, work and business ethics, business etiquette, corporate governance, quality culture, service excellence, change management, motivation, team dynamics, entrepreneurial skills, business planning and processes, reengineering, employee engagement and wellness, to mention a few. Venerable Adesina is a non-stipendiary priest of the Church of Nigeria, currently serving in the Lagos West Diocese. Apart from his priestly duties, he is actively involved in voluntary community development and social work. He is the current chairman of the Tioluwani CDA in Ifako, Ijaye LCDA in the Jew area of Lagos State. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, so this is our second speaker, and he's going to be taking us on EAP and the 8 pillars of wellness, strengthening organizational health, and workforce productivity. Venerable Adelowo Adesina, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Tony. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right. I'm now going to try and share my slide from my end. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Confirm you can see my slide.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for inviting me. I had a discussion with Debola that a 2 hours of webinar may be contributing to stress and burnout in people. So I'll try and just run through this as quickly as possible so I won't take as much time. The topic or the theme is looking at business trend. Post-COVID, what became the fad was mental health. Everybody was so concerned about mental health, anxiety, burnout, wellness. But as we speak, the trend now is on EAP, Employee Assistance Program, and wellness. And the value driver for EAP are the 8 pillars of wellness. So I'm just going to quickly run through the 8 pillars of wellness. Well, these are the 8 pillars. You have your physical, environmental, social, spiritual, intellectual, financial, emotional wellness. Now, my outline, we're going to try and define wellness. We then go to the 8 pillars or 8 dimensions of wellness. What that simply means is that we have moved away from the concept. The trend now is moving away from the concept of mental health to holistic health. I'll give you an example. If you are financially unwell, that is, to use local parlance, if you are broke, you are likely to be unreasonable. You are likely to be unwell. So, but if you have the holistic well, it's like your wheel of life is balanced. And that's what we're looking at, wholesome health, health in its totality. By way of definition, Joshua Welsh said, wellness is a connection of parts, that is knowledge and action. You become well not just by what you know. You become well by what you know and what you then go out go on to do. And Greg Anderson said, wellness is the complete integration of the body, the mind, and the spirit. The realization that everything we do and think and believe has an effect on our state of well-being. Listen to that again. Wellness is a connection of part, body, mind, and spirit. It is the realization that everything we do, what we think, what we believe, has an effect on our state of well-being. So it is not just about mental health, it is about wholesome health. Because of our time, Pfizer, who came out with the first, what is it called now, the injection after COVID, they also gave a definition of wellness about the time they came up with the vaccine. And the Pfizer definition says, wellness is the act of practicing healthy habits on a daily basis to attain better physical and mental health outcomes, so that instead of just striving, you are thriving. The bit I really like is, instead of just striving, you are thriving. And once you are thriving in health, you will prosper in health. The scripture says, I wish above all things that you should prosper and be in health. Now, because of our time, I want to try and do this in 25, 30 minutes. I'm skipping a lot of the definition, but it is important to WHO says, health is defined as a state of complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being, and not just merely the absence of diseases and infirmity. WHO says health is defined as a state of complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being, and not merely the absence of diseases and infirmity. So the trend now is moving away from just mental health to holistic health. And the value driver for holistic health are the 8 pillars of wellness. The first pillar, these are the 8 pillars again: physical wellness, emotional wellness, social wellness, spiritual wellness, intellectual wellness, occupational wellness, financial wellness, and environmental wellness. I'll quickly run through this. Pardon me if I appear to be on a very high pace, is because I'm mindful of the fact that people have been on the webinar for some time. Some people have even dropped out, and I want you to get value for your time and return on the time. The first pillar is your physical wellness, and this is often associated with physical exercise, fitness, proper nutrition, and the like. But let me tell you that it is much more. Physical wellness is much more than what you eat, what you wear, what you do in terms of exercises. It is wholesome health and longevity. I was talking to Kumbo earlier on. I had to leave a 90 years Thanksgiving service to come and join the webinar. So physical wellness goes beyond what you eat, how you sleep, your exercises. It is wholesome health and longevity. It comprises of several components, such as your body mass index, your cholesterol and glucose level, your blood pressure, how well your internal organ, your liver, kidney, heart, how well they are functioning, and then your skeletal structure, your bone structure, your circulatory system, your overall health, stamina, and endurance. So there's much more to physical health than just doing exercises and your nutritional eating balanced diet and all that. Underlying your physical wellness are some lifestyle factors. They include your use of alcohol and tobacco, your sleep patterns, your exercises, and a whole of other factors, stress and anxiety and work-life balance. To ensure a good physical health, you are encouraged to do your annual medical, that is your comprehensive health check on an annual basis to monitor and regulate this wellness factor. The second is your emotional wellness. Your emotional health wellness has to do with how well you understand yourself and how well you understand other people. Some people will call this emotional intelligence. Some people will call it emotional agility. That is the ability to understand and manage your emotion effectively and appropriately when dealing with other people. Your emotional wellness has to do with relational skills. From emotional wellness, we move to social wellness. As human, we are social beings. We therefore crave the need for healthy relationship, healthy social intercourse, and healthy interaction, and healthy connectedness and community. When we engage in effective social relationship, we gain a sense of belonging, our confidence, and a sense of what? Studies have shown that when you are in toxic relationship, it is hazardous to your health. On the other hand, when you maintain healthy social ties, it is good and effective for your wellness. So I will advise you to cultivate friendship and relationship that add value to you, that challenge and encourage you to be a better version of yourself. Make friends with those who respect your person, your priorities, your boundaries, friends who truly have your best interest at heart. These are very good factors for your social wellness. From social wellness, I move very quickly to spiritual wellness. When we talk about spiritual wellness, it has nothing to do with religion or religiosity. Spiritual wellness has to do with how you make meaning of your world. And you ask such questions as, why am I here? What is my purpose? Am I on the path of destiny? A spiritually able person seeks meaning and harmony between what lies within him, what lies around him, and what lies outside of him. And that's why you will see people who crave spiritual wellness. Some will go for walk in the forest, connecting to nature. Some will engage in gardening. Some will go fishing. Some will go rowing, generally being with nature, trying to make meaning out of life. From spiritual wellness, we go on to intellectual wellness. As humans, just as we exercise our physical body, we need to continually inspire and exercise our mind. So intellectual wellness encourages creativity and mental stimulation. By reading, learning new skills, learning new languages, exploring new ideas, asking questions, engaging in cognitive activities, and by so doing, nurture your intellectual wellness. I encourage you to be a lifelong learner. For as long as you keep learning, you stimulate your intellectual well-being and then you can avoid such diseases as dementia and the like. So be a from intellectual wellness, I go on to occupational wellness. This has to do with your job, and more often than not, how much of job satisfaction, how much of job reward you have will be related to your financial wellness. So as regards occupational wellness, you need to ask these pertinent questions. Are you happy doing what you're doing? Are you happy doing your job? Do you feel you have prospect and are serving purpose? So your job is meant to be a means to an end, a means to self-fulfillment, a means to worship, a means to bless humanity, a means to give back to society. It is not just a means of earning. So do you find purpose in doing what you're doing? Then the next question you want to ask yourself, do you have a safe, comfortable work environment with understanding colleagues, understanding bosses who respect your person and your opinion? So do you have psychological safety at work? Can you really be yourself? Can you afford to drop the ball? Can you afford to shake the table? Can you afford to make mistakes? Are you allowed to self-express in your place of work or on the job? So do you have opportunity for creativity and innovation? Do you have opportunity to bring your own ideas to the table at work? So those are the contributory factor to occupational wellness. Does your job offer you opportunity for personal and professional growth? Are you on a job or on a career path? These are very, very important questions that each of us need to ask ourselves from day to day, from time to time. Do you wake up this morning, Monday morning, feeling eager to go to work? Or do you wake up feeling anxious to go to work? Then you have your financial wellness, which I've spoken indirectly to. Financial wellness and occupational wellness relate. It deals with your financial stability, your income, your expenses, your savings, and your investment. Are you able to save for the raining day? No matter what, or are you building an egg nest for your retirement? What will life be after work? You won't always earn what you're earning now if you're in full-time employment. Even if you're in business, there comes a time when diminishing return sets in to all of us. Are you putting aside something? I want to encourage you, please, not to get into the debt trap. And finally, I'm very conscious of time, so I am skipping through a lot of things. Please bear with me. You have your environmental wellness. Environmental wellness is an awareness of the unstable state of the earth, how our daily habits and lifestyle has depleted the balance of the earth. You know, we talk of climate change. You and I are contributors. Those who live in a Lekki corridor, Victoria Island, with the rains of recent, they know what they have gone through. So for our environmental wellness, let us all be conscious of our part and the need to be eco-friendly, to plant a tree somewhere, to have greeneries around us, to actively be engaged in recycle and be mindful of our disposal of garbages what medications we're using, how we use energy, fuel, water. We all need to be fumes and all that. We all need to be conscious of conservation, energy conservation, fuel conservation, water conservation, and the like. And we need to get to the realms of sustainable products that are environmental friendly or environmental wellness. The options provided in this part are meant to improve our overall health and wellness. The earth resources are meant for everybody. Are we using it just for today, or are we mindful of the future of our children and grandchildren and generation yet unborn? So I sincerely want to thank you for being part of the webinar. And I hope that even though I have rushed through things, you have benefited a thing or two. Auntie Tokes, I hand over back to you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was very powerful. There is nothing like listening to a talk on how to look after ourselves so that we do have a future. So thank you to both our speakers. Eden, thank you so much. And Venerable, thank you so much for the talk. So if anyone does have any questions, please put them in the chat. We are going to give about one person the opportunity to actually unmute and ask a question from any of our speakers. But for me personally, some of the things that I took away, I think when Eden was speaking, I think the biggest thing for me, and I'm going to be, maybe because I'm in the UK, I don't know, but when I first saw ESG, I remember when every time you start a new job, you find that they have all these different abbreviations. And it's one of the first things that you need to understand when you see abbreviations. So when I first saw it, I was, okay, what is ESG? And I'm so grateful that I'd listened to it, because environmental, social, and governance is what keeps the world going. So just as Venerable has said, he also has talked about the environment. He ended it with the environment, and the ESG also is about the environment, because if we don't have an environment, we don't have anything. It's the environment that is everything, that everything is based on. And then the social side, honestly, look at everyone here today. We're looking at the social side, and it connects both speakers. So we have, what is social? Social is so important. I've been a social prescriber. My last role, I was a team lead social prescriber for the NHS. And honestly, it was such a game changer, because before that time, I was in employment and careers. So going into the social prescribing side made me much more aware. So I really love that we had both of them connect, and also governance. Now, if we all know what it's like when we don't have good government. So we're not even going to get into the politics of what happens, whether in Nigeria or on a global level, but we know a good government means a good country. A great government means a great country, and a very bad government means struggle and hardship for the people. But I pray that that is not our story. Everything that we've heard here today is to empower us. So if you do have any questions whatsoever, please put them in the chat, and we will give one person the opportunity to ask a question. But before we do that, I just want Adebola to come in and ask, just round it off for both our speakers and the powerful information that they have given us today. So, but if anyone is ready with a question, please put your hand up, so that once Adebola just puts in this little, end to this beautiful set of sessions, we can then take your question. So over to you, Adebola.
Right. Thank you so much, Tokunbo. Thank you, Eden. It's wonderful, wonderful, loaded presentation. I know you had a management retreat, and we drew you from there, have inconvenienced you within such a short time to come present. We really appreciate the effort and the loaded presentation. We apologize that we had to rush you through, okay? But I believe, of course, the recording is going to be available to participants as well as on YouTube, so we can access it there. But then again, we have been telling us to please go to the chat room and drop your details, all right? Your email address, your name, your company, your email address, and your number and your location, so that we will be able to reach you, maybe send the recording to you directly, all right? So please do that. Thank you so much, Eden. Now, and thank you so much, Venerable, my mentor. I really appreciate everyone. Now, in listening to all the things, or all the two presentations, we see that there's some overlaps, right? There's some points, some principles that are checking off and are similar. This shows you that there are global trends that impact businesses all over the world, all right? Globally, at national level, at state level. So whether you're a small player, whether you're a big player, whether you work with the M&As, the multinationals, or you're planning to start up, you want to begin to get into the curve right now. And that's what all this is all about. That's the vision for this webinar series. And as a matter of fact, even my paper, which is on ESG as well, a cursory look really at the ESG, is going to check off on all the things that you've been hearing in one way or the other, that you've been hearing since almost hours ago. We thank you so much for still being with us. That said, I think I can go on to quickly run through my own presentation, unless we have any question. Or maybe we'll close everything.
Not at the moment.
All right. All right, great.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, so let me share.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, am I visible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, so now one of the reasons why I decided to make a presentation on this is because I'm a just transition advocate, and it relates to the environment where we're working or where we live, which also means it's the legacy. What we do now with the world or the earth is what we're going to leave to posterity. And so whether we're small players or individuals, no matter what level or tier we're in, everything, all right, boils down to accountability and ownership at whatever level. Everybody needs to get on board. And that's why we have the acronym, leaving no one behind, when you talk about the ESG. Okay, so to cut to the chase, what exactly is the ESG? It's an acronym that's, like Eden had said before, it means environmental, it means social, and it also means governance. Governance, like Tokubo talked about, our government, all right, and that is relating to the government of the people, but it also relates to governance in terms of the boards of directors, those that are at the helm of affairs and operations or decision-making within any organization. So you see there in the design that we have there, all right, it's a circular thing, it impacts, they impact one another. It's a cycle of impact, basically, whether, it's the environment, the social, and the governance, and they interplay. The next slide is the scope of ESG. Now, it's a very, very new area, but it is fast gaining grounds. And like I said before, no one can be left behind, all right? That's the acronym. When you talk about ESG, when you talk about climate change and what have you, it speaks to leaving no one behind. So right from whether you're carrying on in age or you are even a babe that's still in arms, you want to begin to share that or propagate that gospel, the gospel of the ESG, the gospel of what environment, in the context and the content of environment in terms of climate change, resource depletion, pollution, desert encroachment, flooding all over the world, land, reclaiming where they're flooding and loss to, agricultural produce and what have you. And of course, some of us might have been hearing that in the island nations, quite a number of those island nations are at risk. They're about to be swallowed up from that, along with, in line with that story we hear about, the lost nation of Atlantis. I don't know if you've heard about it. All right, so when you talk about social, that's the S in the ESG. It means or relates in context and content to labor practices, human rights, community engagement. In governance, I want to try and rush as well, all right, because of our time. In governance as well, it talks about the board composition, executive compensations. It talks about transparency. It talks about the different pillars. Okay, these are the 3 pillars. And when you talk about private sector involvement, all of them are interconnected, all of them interplay. And where the governance structure or the board compositions, as the case may be in any organization, do not understand, you can be sure that they will not pass policies or they will not approve policies inside, in internal, in the organization, in the companies, or what have you, that will promote ESG. But like I said, it is gaining ground, whether they like it or not. And Eden already mentioned that there's high regulation, and under this administrative governance that we have in the public sector, under the administration of President Tinubu, they are exposed, they are well-traveled, and they are pushing this gospel. So nobody can afford to be left behind, not even the small players, like I said before. So what exactly are the emerging ESG trends? Climate change and carbonization, diversity, equity, and inclusion, what we usually call DEI, or some people call it EID, but it's just a swap of those words. It also speaks to sustainable supply chains. And lastly, it talks about reporting and transparency. Like Eden already said, and even Venerable, you want to begin to work to best practice. Again, I said this is just a cursory. Eventually, we're going to have someone come speak much more, elaborately on this topic. And because I'm an advocate, I must say that it is where the world is going to, because it speaks to what the status or the state of the earth, okay, the world where we live in. I'm going to be giving more and more, by God's grace, opportunity for people to come speak to it in whatever term or context, please. We go to the next slide. The business case for ESG. All right. Now, if you're in business, of course, when you plan, you also want to take into consideration the risk factors in your business. And allow me to quickly chip in here that even if you're a small player, don't think it doesn't affect you. Because more and more with the regulatory agencies or the monitoring agencies, they have made companies who will patronize small players or startups. They've started making them the policemen to, the standards that we're talking about under the ESG. Okay, so whether you're a startup or an MSME, you need to begin to get on top of it, because the people you're supplying or you're going to be providing your services to will begin to ask you, because it's part also of their own deliverables and checkups in their audits. Okay, so you need to get on top of it, begin to know, get in the curve or within the curve. So opportunity creation is also another business opportunity that ESG, or a business case that will make for the ESG, right, in terms of capitalization and what have you, whether it's for you to begin to do businesses. There are quite a number of technological transfers that are going on globally, from China, from the EU, from even America, on technology that impact and manage the use of the things that we're doing in the environment today. There's also, of course, stakeholder expectations. Of course, companies are required by their host communities and stakeholders all over the world to become much more responsible in your business or manufacturing operations, whatever it is or whatever sector that you operate in. So you're expected to begin to transit from whatever mode of manufacturing you're engaged in now to those technologies that are environment friendly. And of course, I'm sure we begin to see products out there now that say, oh, it's environment friendly, it wasn't tested on animals and things like that. Because the advocates have a larger voice today. And yes, they have their own time in the United Nations Forum. Anytime they meet, they are allowed to speak because they're stakeholders. And what businesses of the private sector are doing is impacting their lives today and the future. And then, of course, long-term sustainability. it's in the business case is ensuring the long-term viability of your business. If you want to remain competitive, then you want to comply. The benefits of ESG include enhanced brand reputation, okay? If you want to have a good name out there and allow not only people or customers to patronize you, but to actually be your first, to actually be those that publicize your brand, that no, these people are compliant, these people care about us. It's not just about the money, but about our lives as well. Then you want to begin to have your ESG policies, all right, in your businesses. It also encourages, or one of the benefits is enhanced collaborations. And what it speaks to here is SDG 17. That's the Sustainable Development Goal 17. I have deliberately left it out because other speakers in other series can elaborate further on this. And what it means is that instead of you bearing the expense of your ESG projects and transitions, in collaborations and partnerships with other stakeholders and companies or organizations of similar minds and vision, you'll be able to split the costs and spread the gospel that much further, whether nationally or globally. It also speaks to improved risk management, all right? With awareness that is growing, all right? You're able to manage your risk. You're able to transit to technology that will sustain, save costs, all right? It's economically, it speaks to economic management, all right? You're able to save costs and risk, you're able to manage your risk because, of course, with good ESG policies, then you will not have societies, communities, organizations that sue you or, come up with cases or picketing or what have you that will impact your business, including, of course, government coming in, sanctioning you and closing down your business. It again, of course, also another benefit is increased investor confidence. When you're seen to be responsible in this regard, investors will come look for you. All right. And that's one of the things that the Priestley Consulting is also offering in the table or on the table to what connect you with investors. Because we have a whole plethora of investors that cut across finance, your operations, the different types of sectors who are looking for businesses that they want to do. They want to make partners and work with, okay, in the circular economy that is also a global trend. All right. So ESG policies put you in that position, better decision making, long-term sustainability, because of course that means you'll be able to grow your business. More money means more growth, more branches, expansion around the nation or where you're operating, of course, globally. What are the challenges to implementation? Eden spoke quite a number of things to this regard. Even Venerable mentioned it as well. All right. And some of them, just a few here, are data quality, stakeholder engagement, regulatory complexities. Some of the projects are expensive, and that's why we talked about you collaborating so that you can split costs and expenses. One of these I didn't mention here is that, of course, with an ESG policy, all right, it speaks to quite a number of things, which of course is in terms of the social now, your employees will know that you care about your well-being, like Venerable has said. And there are regulations, there are legislations that are already evolving as we speak right now, okay, with stakeholders, with the social partners, by government, so that as we enter 2026, quite a number of things, which is one of the reasons why, even though, of course, we're still trying to put quite a number of things in place, but we decided that, yes, it's better we set off now with this maiden edition so that we begin to cross our I's, dot our T's, and get our ducks in a row, knowing where the mistakes are, where the gaps are, begin to put things in order. Why? Because come 2026, government is going to hit the tracks, all right, running, all right, burning or blazing the rubber, okay, and they may not be too accommodating for those that are not compliant with the ESG, the SDGs, climate action, just transition, as the case may be. I move on to the next slide. Opportunities in implementing ESG, all under the very areas, as we have spoken, that the acronym speaks to, right? Environmental, huge opportunities. Social, huge opportunities. Governance, oh yes, definitely. The reputation, and of course, personal brands, depending on who is at the helm of affairs in these different organizations. I can mention quite a number of organizations who are at the fore in this gospel, the ESG gospel. We talk about Lafarge. Lafarge is at the front. I call them, this change or ESG champions. We also have organizations like Nestle, Friesland Campina. They are multinationals, but others are coming up as well. And yes, they're willing to carry and ready to, to support other businesses as well, especially if you have what they want to engage with you on in terms of you being a vendor or what have you. So again, there's a huge number of opportunities yes, under the SDGs, like I already mentioned. We need to go and look at them. There are 17 of them. This is only a cursory paper, so I'm not going to talk about it, but there's 17, all right, goals under the Sustainable Development from the United Nations. But in terms of highlights now, they are innovation, collaboration, sustainable for your business, for yourself in career, for the other stakeholders that you deal with. And lastly, the conclusion, what is the call to action? Businesses need to see the long-term benefits in getting into the curve in the trends that impact their operations as well as their stakeholders. In this intersectional, interrelational impacts of businesses, vendors, suppliers, etc., in this global circular economy, we all are strongly encouraged to plan for and integrate ESG in our business strategies. That should be our. Thank you very much. And I call it a wrap.
Thank you very much.
Over to you, please.
Thank you very much for that. And that's another ESG pack of information. And we've all concluded that our environment, our social activities, and of course, governance all work hand in hand to give us a good experience while we spend a long, good life on Earth, which ties in with the 8 pillars as well, which is very empowering. And honestly, I look forward to listening to more around these topics. I don't know if anyone has any question. Please, 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 let's put some emojis in there. Let's clap hands. Hope no one's... So do we have any questions? Does someone want to? We want to give someone 1 minute because we want to try as best as we can to keep to our time. Does anyone have a question or something to contribute? As far as it's within 30 seconds. So, yes.
Good afternoon, everyone, again. I have a question I want to quickly ask.
Okay, quickly, go ahead.
Thank you so much to all the speakers. It has been amazing. Okay. Yes, I want to quickly ask, the first speaker, I want to ask that a proactive succession planning in an unstructured organization, how do you go about it and get results? Thank you.
Okay, so that's
I'll type it in the chat.
Okay, yes. So do we still have Eden here? Is she here? Okay, so I think she's not here now. So we are going to pass that question on to her, and then we'll get some feedback and pass it on to you.
Eden told me. Okay. I actually drew Eden out of, like I said, she's been in retreat all week for several days now, and
okay.
Management retreat. So she had told me that she may need to leave.
Yes.
But if she's able to come back in time to take any questions, so I really can't say for now. But there's syndicating, all right, calibrating, and the takeaway from the retreat. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that question. And I think we have come to almost the very end. We're just going to do some announcements. So thank you, everyone, all the speakers, and everyone that attended. You know, my mom used to say something in her culture. My mom is Shekiri, was Shekiri. And she used to say that there used to be a saying years ago, I don't know, but that's what she said, that they would say that if you hold a party and there's no one that's going to come and eat your rice, even though we don't bring presents for you, but we come to eat your rice, it's a successful party. So we want to say that all the participants that came added and made it more powerful. So we want to appreciate every single one of you. You've taken time out of your busy day to come and listen, to empower yourselves. And we know that what you've heard today, you're going to take it away and use as much and more of this information. So we just want to say a really big thank you to Venerable, to Eden, even though she's not here now, and to Adebola for putting this together. Please, let's everyone give Adebola a big clap, 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 clap. Putting this together is not as easy fit. She's so busy, but yet she put this together for everyone. So I'm just going to give her a wonderful emoji there, clapping, clapping, and every other type of emoji that we've got. So well done, well done. Well done. So announcement. So is Tumishe here? You want to take the announcement, or is Yapa going to take the announcement? And then I can just round it off with 1 minute of what I do. So.
Okay, let me take it. This is Yabo.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, the next webinar will be on the 4th of December.
Okay.
So I think there will be awareness and it will be shared.
Okay.
So that's just the announcement we have now.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to share my information. I'm not, I want to make sure that we keep to time. So let me try and see if I can bring it up very quickly. Everyone can just take that information. So so this is me, and I just actually I've downloaded it, but I'll just keep it inside Canva. So this is me. So my name is Tokunbo Oshunbayo. I'm an women empowerment, as we would say, advocate. I'm everything about women empowerment. As you can see, my organization is called Women Elevating Women. I've been running it for about 10 years now. I first started it off as a business event for women, but I'm now transitioning into a new space where I'm helping women. Generally, I do a lot of work also with organizations where I speak to men and women, but that's more around employability and things like that. But when I'm working with women directly, it's to help them in their businesses, in their careers, and life generally. So I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a trainer, a speaker, and I've written 2 children's books around money. When I first started out, I started out in financial education. So I'm really big around money management and mindset. So when Venerable was talking, I said, he is speaking my language. And those are the areas that I work with. So I do a lot around digital skills as well, doing presentation, designing presentations, giving presentations. And I also do this facilitating, just getting into the facilitating more because I used to do it more for corporate. But I'm now getting into this space where I want to help women, most especially, birth their visions. Many have visions, but they don't have the digital skills to bring those visions to life. And this is one of the things that the Lord had mandated me to do. So under the Women Elevating Women, even though it's not a Christian organization, it is supporting women to bring to birth, either through business, their careers, or life, so that they can actually do everything that they have been designed to do on earth. So I just want to say a really big thank you. So that's my information. If anybody wants to reach out to me, you can reach out to my email, and speaking, everything around building websites, anything digital skills, that is my skill as well, because I build my own website. So thank you. And thank you, Adebola.
All right. Thanks a lot, Tokes.
Over to you.
Well, so you heard what she said. Tokes has been a wonderful, wonderful support. All right, there are quite a number of things that we're doing together. And I guess in the fullness of time, or the course of doing the series, we'll probably just engage more and more with one another and share this together. That said, I want the other people to introduce themselves as well in like 2 or 3 sentences. All right, Tony, can you introduce yourself, please? The reason why we're allowing this, in case you need to get in touch with me or them to do things for you, the areas of specialization, please you can reach out. Tony, over to you. Are you still with us? I know I brought him out of another meeting as well. Tony, all right.
Okay.
I think he's had to leave. All right, so that's about it. What about Oyinlola? Is Oyinlola around?
Yes, can you hear me?
She's still on.
Okay, Tony's there. Okay, Tony, go ahead.
Oh, Tony. Okay, awesome. Great. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, Tony.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you have the floor. Please tell
I
us who you
changed
are.
my location, so
That's okay.
a little bit blurry if you can see me properly. But basically, thank you, everyone, and I'm happy that we have come to the end of the maiden session, and rest assured that you're going to get more of this. And this is just the first one, and just like Mrs. Adebola said, the idea is to see how to create more impact, both individually and also for those that have organizations as well. And for me, I work at a Lagos Business School, and I'm an associate. My work is basically focused around sustainability. So basically all the ESG and everything that was discussed in class. So yeah, so if you're interested, you can reach out to Mrs. Adebola, and also I'll be there to support as well. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Tony. Is Oyinlola around?
Let me check the names in the list there. No.
All right. Okay. So allow me to say thank you very much to all the people that participated. We are so, so grateful, okay, for making our time out of your busy schedules to make this meeting edition. Honestly, you really encouraged us. And like I said before, we're definitely going to work on whatever gaps we had before. And in the Google form that we had sent out that many people registered on, we saw the next areas that they want us to speak to when the next edition comes up in December. All things being equal, 4th of December, that's on a Thursday. In the next, that's the next quarter that we have, since this is a quarterly webinar, all right? One of them is data security. It speaks to data security. And we know that in the last over a year now, right, government actually brought out a legislation in that regard. We already contacted the national IT experts in that regard. So he's standing by to come and speak with us at the next webinar. So please, it would be wonderful if you plan to be available. Another topic that had a high vote or poll is what we're still talking about here, the ASDG, the ESG, all right? So we see how it continues to grow, but most likely, yes, we'll have a speaker in that regard. There's somebody we're looking at in the oil and gas industry who'd already said they are able to speak to it, but we don't know what the time will permit them. We'll get back to you on that. That said, thank you very much for making the time, and it's a wrap. We'll see you the next session.
Okay, thank you.
To you.
So thank you, everyone.